No, I'm real happy with it. I mean, what I see so far.
I'd like to call the special meeting of the Lopatcong Township Council for March 20th to order. Ask everybody to bow their head for a moment of silence, please. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Turn that on.
All right, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided indicating the time and place of the meeting in accordance with Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975 by advertising a notice in the Star Gazette and the Express Times, or by posting a copy on the bulletin board in the municipal building. Roll call, please.
Yes, Councilman Belcaro.
Here.
Councilman Polito.
Here.
Councilman Wright.
Here.
Council President Pryor.
Here.
Mayor Mancucci.
Here. Any public comment on agenda items only? Seeing none, we'll go right into it. The 2019 municipal budget, to introduce the budget.
The 2019 municipal budget is a total budget of $9,022,749.62. We're anticipating revenues to be $3,700,056.61, which leaves us with an amount to be raised of $5,322,693.01, which equates to a 2.4% increase from last year.
And again, just for the people that are here, the average home will say 250,000, what do we?
231
Right.
usually, and we use that as a basis, and it's about $56–57 for the year.
Okay,
And that's just our piece.
so really less than $5 a month. Okay. All right,
And we're under both caps, the tax levy and the appropriations cap.
very good. Gentlemen, any questions, comments?
Yeah,
Joe?
Kim, just real quick on the material you handed out on 2/26/19, I recognize that was very preliminary. What it has, like in the revenues reserved for recycling tonnage grant, we had 17 grand last year, we got 1,800 this year.
That was an estimate, and that grant actually was canceled in January. It was
Okay.
set up for the wrong amount.
Okay.
So we didn't lose money,
Yeah.
and never received the money.
And then how about clean communities? We had 38,000 last year and it's blank this year.
I had to go back and submit for prior years that
Yeah.
were not submitted to the state.
Okay,
So that's why those numbers are different.
yeah, okay.
So I cleaned up the grant part of it.
I did have just some general comments. I had some objectives for this year, and I think this budget meets them. We wanted to set aside an adequate reserve, and this does preserve a good portion of surplus. When we got our new bond rating, we promised that we would maintain at least 10% of the budget at all times. This is 12%. It's the highest it's been in 10 years, John.
Exactly.
And it also satisfies the rating agencies. We wanted to reduce the transfers from the sewer utility. I think we're 175 this year. This is 100 this year, which is a sizable reduction. And then there was the money towards reducing the debt. And what, we have 2 years to get rid of our solar
Yes.
debt.
That's correct.
So we had to make a sizable payment this year to bring that down to a manageable limit the last 2 years.
What will be that manageable limit the next 2 years?
I think it'll be, I don't have it, about 200,000
It's gonna be
roughly?
more than that.
Yeah.
It's gonna be closer to 300, 325, just for that bond anticipation alone.
But over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
years.
No, that's each year of
I
325.
don't think that's what,
Yeah, I think it's less than that because we built more in this year.
the schedule I have,
Let me,
this is balance 219. Yes, the 624. So it'd be 312 approximately.
Yep.
Jim, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
And we are paying off We had 2 tax appeals going. This
Yeah.
is the last year for the older one, and of course, the new one from last year came on board this
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
And then lastly, I think mostly Lou and I go back the furthest on this. We traditionally try and hold the increase to 2 cents a hundred. We're 2.4, which at least I feel, Lou, going through the budget, it was a good job, and it came close to our goal.
We also had to, well, we took it from fund balance, the new tax appeals, Scenic Ridge, and I think there's another one, also small one, but we're trying to build up that reserve, because as you know, we went to division, twice in the last, I don't know how many years, and they said, don't come back.
And the last time they said, don't come back.
Yeah, so we're trying to at least build up that reserve, so when things,
So the one that's coming on board this year is the 725
Put money away.
for Arca?
yes,
Okay.
That's correct.
yes.
Coming over, but we still have $1 million.
And which
Oh,
one?
yeah, yeah.
And which one went away? How much was that went away? Do we have an idea? No, if you don't have it right your head and right
Yeah,
now.
I don't have, it was,
Which one are you talking, Jim?
Yeah.
She
it
said there
was
was,
substantial.
she said there was one that came off the books and one that came
In fact,
on.
if you want to answer it, I have I could
There's a
answer it better, but-
$217,000 one
Well,
that's this year.
Okay.
In this budget.
Okay.
Right schedule.
Next year, you won't have to budget for that one.
Yeah, I thought you were asking what the total original.
I just want to know what we're losing as opposed to what we're gaining
Okay,
is really
okay.
what I'm after, so.
Yep,
Okay.
so that was, close to $1 million then, in total?
In total.
Yeah,
You know, the one thing that we're anticipating going into next year is that, like you said, your surplus has been regenerating, and you're at a high of the last 10 years. If we see another year like that, then we'll be able to fund the reserve for tax appeals, and we'll also be able to utilize more surplus in the budget to pay down more of that solar project bond. So right now, if you're paying down hypothetically 50,000, and next year you have to pay 350, we could take 100 from surplus rather than increase the tax rate at that point.
Yeah.
So there's going to be, it's nice to have those funds because you're going to have options.
The other thing, John, is according to the schedule that I'm hearing, our pilot should kick in next year from
July 78.
Bridge.
Okay?
And they have to complete their highway work too, but their schedule is to start fitting out the building in September, I understand, so
Okay.
I'm optimistic, we'll see.
So Joe's done a lot of work. I've asked a few questions. You've been around a long time, John. Where are we at overall, did you feel? We better now that we've been quite a while?
Anybody that tells you your reserves are terrible and that the town is going the wrong way is completely wrong.
Okay, good.
You have been, I'm happy to be here in a good time, because we've had some tougher years and some tougher budgets, scratching our heads trying to figure out how we're going to keep the tax to 2 cents. But you've done the hard work over the past few years, and you continue, now you're kind of reaping some of the benefit of the choices that you've made. And I think you put the town in a great position. And again, I'm looking forward to seeing how we end the year this year. And if you have another year like you did last year, you're going to be in really good shape going forward. You do have some debt that you have to address.
Yeah.
But, I never think of debt as a terrible thing, because if you needed it, you need it.
Yeah.
If you're spending it frivolously, that's a different story. But that one for $217,000 that's fallen off this year, it was a tax appeal. You had to do it,
Right.
It wasn't an option. And then you have another one on there for the $750 that's going to be paid down over 5 years. You have to address it.
Yeah.
But you're in a position now where this has been one of the easier budgets in any of my municipalities in a long time.
I had one last question, John, both for you and Jim. Our tax collections last year were like 95%.
Yes.
And
We're still
you're
feeling the
obligated
effects.
to use that this year, because that's what it was last year?
You are
I have that correct?
Yep.
And, I mean, I'd be shocked if we didn't beat that.
Yeah, you're
Yes,
at
yes.
95.57%, and I don't have your prior 3-year average printed on here, but I know it's up around 97%.
Yeah, I mean, with all the
Yes.
turmoil we went through, we
yeah.
had a horrible year, and then that gets pulled into this budget, so we should meet that. We
Knew that
budgeted,
there was gonna be a year where you took a drop.
Because we did all the adjustments to everybody's accounts and, yeah.
You know, the nice thing about having the surplus that you have and being able to use that is that if you have an odd year where your tax rate goes down, you're able to pass a resolution to take the average of the prior 3 years. We were able to do this budget without even having to do that. All right, so, you know, because you know your collection percentage should be somewhere near 97.
Yeah.
So you don't get penalized in the 1 year that it goes down. But we didn't even have to go in and do anything to come up with it. Another thing that we stopped doing, because you don't need it anymore, is we stopped deferring the school tax. All right, you were maxed out at 50% of the school tax bill. You still pay it, all right? It just takes it off of your balance sheet. It takes it off your balance sheet as an account payable. Now, because your surplus is regenerating on its own, that's an artificial inflator to surplus. We're no longer doing that, so you're not passing the deferred school tax resolution anymore. You're letting that do what it has to be done. If you get in a position where you have a major tax appeal and it's going to put strain on your surplus, at that point, I would say, okay, now's a good use to defer that school tax, because if you went down to Trenton and said, you know, could you give us 5 years, the first thing they'll look at is, do you have any deferred school tax money you can increase to pay it off? So we're going to leave that alone for as long as we can. And if we don't touch it, just let your surplus build naturally.
You
And
know, like you said, this year we had a good year.
right.
Now, I'm talking about last year. And if this year, it sounds like we're on the right path here.
2 good years in a row.
Right. Now, for this year, is anything equal to the past 2 years we've been having, right?
Yep.
If
All things being equal.
without any emergencies arising,
Correct.
right, but we have to, you know, spend money. And with next year's, you know, combination with tax revenue, with new projects that's going to be completed, coming in. What I don't like to see is, okay, now we have all this extra money, and we're going to start doing all sorts of stuff, unless it directly benefits the taxpayers.
Okay.
What I would like to see, and we could talk this about next year, is actually, if we can, I'd like to see give back a penny to the taxpayers.
Okay.
Okay? Now, I don't know, and now I'm
See
just
where we're
talking,
at.
I'm thinking out loud,
Yep.
you know, because you never hear any taxes ever going down.
Correct.
Okay, so, and that is something I'm thinking about, and I don't know what the numbers will be like, but I think that'd be an awesome thing if that's possible. And that is after we pay everything
Let
else
me
off.
agree more.
Right.
What I would caution you on is that there are other avenues you can take if you have another banner year next year. You can increase your reserve for tax abatement, all right, to a level where, you know, maybe your assessor knows that there's some things coming down the pipe.
Right.
Increase that. You can put away money into stormwater, or not stormwater, storm recovery. So if you have some bad unexpected storms that blow through, either hurricanes or snowstorms, and you go over in your budget, you have some place to charge to. There's accumulated absence reserve, where you put money aside for employees that are going to retire in a few years, and when they do, you got to pay them out their sick and vacation time, and that won't strain future budgets. You know,
Yeah, I
it's
think if we're headed in the right path, I mean, I'd love to give everybody money back too, but you know, I mean, my two priorities, pay down the debt, get the roads done.
Yeah.
And those are the two priorities. If we have extra money, I think that's where we
It's
should.
nice to have options,
Well, yeah.
so we can
So-
discuss.
Yeah, I don't even think we were discussing options up here the last few years, but.
No.
Right, so, that's, at least my second question. What are we budgeting, what's in the budget this year for roads? Just roads only,
Just roads, it was Red School Lane, and it was 600,000. There's some aid
right?
that Paul applied for. I
Right.
think I want to say 200.
250. We're
That was
talking about Red School Lane, it was
Yeah,
250.
yeah.
Okay,
And
so the
so,
ones we want to do is finish Red School, we want to do Baltimore, correct? Baltimore's on
Baltimore's
the
on
books, so we'll put some
last-
money in the Red School. Right. I personally would like to finish, you know, I'm gonna finish sections. Right. Rose Hill Heights, Morris Park, or, I'm sorry, Rose Hill Heights, Delaware Park, and Bentley Park were all done back in 2007. So they're gonna start rolling on. I think we need to Right. finish Morris Park, and then we need to start taking a look at Country Hills, because, yeah,
That's getting better.
Some of those country hills, I mean, they were there the first time we ran, which was back in 97, so those roads are 22 years old already, so.
Well, we
some of
really
them, not all of them.
gotta get on a good replacement schedule. Right now, we're catching up because we haven't done roads, we haven't bought equipment. So once we get on that schedule, it won't be as a drain on your budget.
Right.
So we just need
I
to,
will tell you this, I'm getting more and more calls from the people up on Loud's Hollow. I took a ride up there on Sunday. Loud's Hollow and Fox Farm Road are ugly. I know it doesn't have a lot of residents on it, but we can't,
Ignore it.
no, we can't ignore them because you got 300 homes in Country Hills or 200 homes in Brickley Park. We can't ignore the 10 that are on, they pay taxes too. And nothing's been done out there in
Years.
probably, I don't even remember it being done.
Right.
So, but it's not gonna be cheap.
I think
Anyway,
Constructors Road is starting to fall.
yeah.
Lot of the town is.
I know.
Lot of it
There's a lot of stuff. Right.
well, it's rough winters too, it's with anything.
This
Now,
was-
also, Paul did say some of his quotes or bids came in a little cheaper.
Mhm.
So we may have some reserve money in 2018 to do, like
Yeah.
you say, Dana, Cromwell, because he gave me the numbers and they're not that expensive.
You might as well have a horse and carriage on Dana because it's bad.
Yeah, so,
Feels like that already.
Oh, it's Dana. I
I'm
mean,
in my truck.
I'm ashamed to even tell anybody that Dana Road exists. So, anybody else before we make a motion here? No? Need a motion?
I make motions.
Sir.
Our motion is just to introduce.
Just to introduce the budget.
Next meeting, we'll have a hearing,
April
public hearing
17th,
on the budget.
Yep.
April 17th.
for your public hearing.
John, you want to say something?
Yeah, one quick thing. The state, in all its infinite wisdom, has come up with a new reporting packet called the FAST system. It's anything but fast. Okay? In fact, it's not even out yet. All
That's
right?
how fast it is.
Yeah, that's how.
it was supposed to be out last year too.
Right, so we don't know right now when it's coming out. We know anything the state put out has a lot of bugs and a lot of issues. Unfortunately, or fortunately, your introduced copy does not have to be on this FAST system, but your adopted copy has to be on the FAST system. If it's not ready by the time you have your meeting on April 17th, you can only have the hearing on the budget, open it to the public for questions, close the hearing, but take no action.
Okay.
All right, you're also in a state review year, where tomorrow or the next day, we'll be sending everything down to the state for their review, and we have to wait for their points before you can have the hearing on the budget.
As long as the ball's in air court and we're not holding it up, I really don't care.
That's the way I look at it.
Yep.
Yeah, and we're early enough now that hopefully,
You should get it
yeah,
back.
yeah.
I don't think we've been this early in years.
They still wait till the last minute to get everything back, but
Yeah,
usually their points are Mickey Mouse kind
Oh.
of stuff.
and I'm gonna be working on the user
Well,
friendly.
when things go good, it's easier.
Well, it is, and I'm certainly not going to take any credit for it, but the stability that is now in that office.
Right.
Really?
You had no stability there for a couple of years, and of course, what went through last year, and the fact that council as a whole is not sitting up here spouting off most of the time, we're doing the work of the people, so that I am proud of, so. Again, Kim, thank you, Joe, I know I hate to keep saying it, because we're all up here, and we all do look at things, but I don't know that we look at things like you do, but, then I'm not home with a broken hip either, so.
That's okay, we communicated.
Okay,
So I'll roll call.
roll call, please.
Councilman Belcarro.
Yes.
Councilman Polito.
Yes.
Councilman Wright.
Yes.
Council President Pryor.
Yes.
Mayor Meducci.
Yes. Number 2, Department of Transportation Jurisdictional Agreement Number 4838, approve Mayor Mangucci to execute the agreement, Route 22 at realigned Lock Street.
Can anyone explain what that is?
Is that going to make that left turn?
That is, this was submitted by New Jersey Department of Transportation. It's a jurisdictional agreement, and it's covering the new traffic signal, the municipal private street connection, which is Rand Boulevard, Lock Street,
Thank you.
Good gentleman.
and the improvements to Route 22.
Well, I understand the project, but what exactly is a jurisdictional agreement? Does it say on there, Beth?
Let's see.
Probably one
Well,
paragraph.
so what I can do is read what the the township agrees to, the state agrees to, and the developer agrees to. Would you like me to read that?
Is it long?
No.
No, I'd like to hear.
Okay, so the township agrees to assume and retain jurisdiction for highway maintenance and control upon completion of the construction and final acceptance by the state in the area shown with double line hatching on the map. Assume and retain jurisdiction for highway control upon completion of construction and final acceptance by the state in the area shown on the single line hatching on the map. And assume or retain jurisdiction for drainage maintenance as indicated on the map. This was all forwarded to me by Paul, so he has read this. The state agrees to assume and retain jurisdiction for highway maintenance and control upon completion of construction and final acceptance by the state in the area shaded on the map. Assume and retain jurisdiction for drainage maintenance as indicated on the map. The developer agrees, the developer, the township, and the state agree as follows. Nothing contained in this agreement shall be construed to affect the legal and/or maintenance responsibilities for any traffic signals, systems, overhead lighting, or other electrical facilities involved in the subject roadway areas. To the extent of the jurisdictional limits established herein, if any provisions of this agreement which may be inconsistent with that of the prior agreement, the provisions of this agreement shall control. All remaining provisions of any prior agreement will continue in full force and effect. So the purpose of this agreement, the following one has just definitions. So
it's basically who maintains what when the project is
Yeah,
over.
it just sounds to me like they covered all three, you know,
Yeah,
the
and
developer, the state, and us.
Paul has seen that, Beth?
yes, he has. He's the one that forwarded it to me to make sure that I had it on, for
Okay.
So this is,
us to take action.
this making a left, right, on 22, into the bridge?
I just think it's just kind of an agreement that, you know, we all maintain our areas, the way it sounds to me.
Yeah, I think it's the whole configuration. Lock Street is going to tie into his road. His
Yeah.
road is going to go into the intersection.
Right.
There's a right-hand turn, there's
There's gonna be traffic
lights for
lights.
left-hand
Yeah,
turns,
that's what
Right.
Paul said.
Yeah.
2 turning lanes. It's the whole package.
They're moving Lock Street back and cutting
Yeah.
into
And then
it.
it says that Lock
That's
Street's a
what's-
township road. Okay, we're responsible. Route 22 is a state road.
It's just defining.
And the other one's a private by them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It almost sounds like you have the same kind of thing with like the intersection at
I
the
bet
high
it
school.
sounds like a standard
You
agreement.
have the high school, the county, and the
Always
town.
happens with municipalities, authorities, and stuff like that with the state, anytime you do a multiple project like this.
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I will make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Councilman Belcarro?
Yes.
Councilman Polito?
Yes.
Councilman Wright?
Yes.
Council President Pryor?
Yes.
Chairman Gucci?
Yes. Number 3 is to assign a conflict tax assessor for tax appeal filed on property known as Block 90, Lot 3.02.
Yeah, we just have our tax assessor is conflicted out of a tax appeal that was filed by this property owner, and so I'm going to recommend that we assign it to the assessor who worked with us prior to Bob, Rich Latika, I think his last name is, if I'm saying it correctly, he's the Harmony tax assessor. And actually, the road that this property is located on is partially in Harmony also, so this man would be very familiar with,
Okay.
that property. So I just need a motion and a second.
Anybody good?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? Gentlemen, John?
Just one thing, I noticed, it's not on the agenda actually, but I noticed it someplace, just an update on the federal grants and aid for sidewalks. Is that still being decided upon, has it been decided, or
That'll be on the agenda for the April 3rd.
Yes.
April 3rd, okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you, sir.
I have a question.
Sure.
When, it's contracted to more of your direction. When is the park paid off? When is that loan done?
Ooh,
Work? When is it paid off?
we expanded
It
that,
was a 10-year bond issue.
we expanded that in
And I think we're
2006.
about 5 years to go.
I don't know, I'm gonna have to check into that.
So we're all, I mean, within 5 years, we should be, if we don't put anything else on, we should be debt-free as a town. Now, I realize we will, but I'm just saying.
We refinanced
2006 when we did that
You
part.
probably did permanent financing on
So
that.
2027, correct, remember? We refinanced everything that was
217, it was a
existing.
10-year issue, and it was back 10 years from when we refinanced.
I think 2027 is
Yeah.
Yeah, because we have,
the end date.
I'll tell you probably, I think we have, I want to say 3,000,003, if that makes sense, left. But it was not just the park then. It
No,
was
it's
all-
other
yeah,
things.
you
It's
just
other
did-
stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I can let
It
you
was
know
just a
that.
question, because it's.
I just don't have
monies,
that.
you know what I mean?
I don't have that with me.
The park was a big chunk of it.
Yes.
Yeah. That was quite the expansion on that park. It
I
was.
think it was like 3 million, 4 million.
I don't remember it more than that.
I don't remember.
$4.5 million issue, does that sound
I
right?
bet where you're going.
Roughly, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
I just didn't know all the details of that, but I will, I'll
Well,
dig them up,
sounds like we're in good shape.
yes.
Let's not lose sight of where we're heading, we'll be in better shape. So,
It's good.
all right.
Thank you to everyone that put a hand into this.
Well, just the stability of that office again. I mean, you know, I was here under two CFOs, and we had how many in the last, since I left in 2012? She's our fourth? 2 and 15 years, 4 and 6, so, hello? It's not a good sign.
Well, we all work well together, we're a good team.
All right, motion to adjourn? All in favor?
Aye.
Can you say it, go ahead?